All right, looks like it's actually live this time. Okay, well, let me pull up the slides. All right, looks like a little bit of a delay here. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started here. So it took me a while to figure this out. I don't know if it was an issue on my side with the network, or if just my computer being old and outdated and not able to run the streaming software. But uh, should be up and running now. So wanted to provide the opportunity to have this live stream for a 2 month recap, talk about where I am with the process. Um, so hopefully some folks are out there will join, and looks like we got at least a couple, one other person there in the chat. So welcome. So again, just like I did this for the first month video, I think it's important to look back and reflect on where I've come so far with this journey. And for this month, really what comes to mind is that where I've come from so far, 2 months in, is that a lot of it is probably newbie gains. So what I mean by that is, anytime you're really out of shape and you start a new fitness regime, um, you really get a lot of benefits early on. But as you progress, your results begin to plateau. And I think that's kind of where I'm at right now, especially if you look back in my videos from about 2 weeks ago. Uh, you'll notice specifically that while I was still losing weight for the videos previous to that, I actually went up in weight for the first time at about week 6. Um, and since then, I decided to implement some changes by adding in some additional running every night. So adding in 2 miles every day to uh, my routine, running at the end of the day, just to try to burn a few more calories. And still, even after doing that, my weight loss, even though it's still weight loss, it's still fairly small. And if you look at the strength training stuff, which we'll look up here in a little bit, um, you will see that it is leveling off for the amount of volume that I'm doing. Regardless of all that, I'm still in better shape than where I started. So if you saw the video a couple weeks ago, I think it was actually last weekend, um, I hit the 500-pound club, which is the deadlift, squat, and bench press. You combined your one rep max for each of those, and if it's more than 500 pounds, you join the club and you get a shirt. So I definitely couldn't do that when I first started. So it's still making progress. I'm going to try to go for 750 in the next couple of months. We'll see if I can get there. The other thing there is that maybe I'm eating too much. If we'll look at some of the meals that I had, uh, thrown together on a slide here in a couple minutes, but uh, in general, I think my largest meal that I typically eat is breakfast. But I don't know if I'm eating necessarily too much. I mean, I'm eating fruit, I'm eating eggs, I'm eating oatmeal, I'm eating dairy, but in general, excuse me, maybe I'm eating more calories than I should be, and that's affecting my weight loss. So, what am I going to here I'm talking about what changes I made during that first month. So based off that first 1 month recap, I said I was going to try to change my routine to push myself to failure for the strength training. So that means uh, for all the different strength training exercises, whether it's bench press, whether it's biceps, shoulder presses, pull downs, whatever it's doing, I'm going to make sure that each set that I'm doing, I'm at the point where I start really losing good form because my muscles are getting close to failure. In addition to that, in the last 2 weeks, I've made a slight change where I'm having you see there, predictable progression, where for a lot of the weights, I'll do 10 reps of a particular exercise, do 3 sets of that, and then the final fourth set will be 5, but it'll be higher weight. Um, Even for those exercises that I'm doing 10 reps for, I'm still trying to get to that point where I'm failure with 10, and then adding an additional weight so I get failure for about 5. Each week, then, as I do additional exercises, I'm adding an additional reps for the 5 reps. So I'll go to 5 to 6 to 7 to 8 to 9 to 10, and eventually when I hit 10, then that will become the new baseline, and then I'll add an additional weight and start with 5 for that. I've been doing that for about 2 weeks now. Required a little bit of reset for how I'm going through, uh, but I'm planning on continuing that. Since the last month, I started adding more fruits in my diet. In addition to more fruits, I've been adding more dairy, just because part of my 1 month recap, I looked at all the food that I was eating, and yes, there was a lot of vegetables. Yes, there was a lot of protein. Um, there's a little bit of grain in there, but there really wasn't a lot of dairy, and there wasn't a lot of vegetables. Sorry, fruit. So made that change, and consciously you'll see that it's I think been successful. I also, from the first month, identified that I'm hitting almost every major muscle group on the body, with the exception of the abs. So I started adding ab work for each of the different routines. Every day I would have a little bit of ab work to make sure I don't miss that area. And I already talked about having the 2 mile run each day. So a quick recap here on where I've been and the different exercise types. If you want to see the specific details, I'd point you to one of my recap videos. Um, but essentially, the good news is if we look far on the left side, we can see that where I started and where I'm ending on the right hand side is still a significant improvement. Uh, but as I said before, a lot of it is in that range of newbie gains, very big spikes in the beginning, and then as we're going on, it's actually beginning to tailor off. With the exception of the 1.5 mile run, that's all the other ones should be getting better, going from bottom left to top right. The 1.5 mile run is we want to see that go from upper left down to lower right. Taking a look at some of the food that I ate. Again, this isn't all inclusive. On the left side there, you see a lot of the breakfast stuff, which is almost carbon copies from day to day. Again, a lot of eggs, a lot of different fruits, some dairy with the yogurt and the milk, some oatmeal with getting some grains in there. And towards like the lunch period, you have a lot of salads, a variety of different vegetables, including the liquid kind with the V8. And then even with the regular meals, we have side items here with some rice, some grains there. We got a variety of different types of vegetables, from squash to Brussels sprouts to broccoli and carrots. And then as far as proteins for the meals, everything from turkey to chicken, fish, steak, a wide variety. Throwing a bunch of Swiss cheese in there throughout the day for some additional dairy. So in general, pretty balanced as far as the different types of food groups. Even throwing in a little bit of the fatty foods in there to keep myself satisfied and happy. Uh, but it does create a bit of a weird situation that I'm still trying to figure out, because as I mentioned about 2 weeks ago, we could see on the chart there about week 6 for the weight change, I actually gained about a pound and a half. And I'm trying to figure this out because, again, it could be those newbie gains. If we look at the chart in the top right for the weight, I started out about 185 when I started this. And the weight loss was pretty consistent. From week 1, I lost like 5 pounds. From week one or week 1 to week 2, almost lost 2.5, 3 pounds. And it was pretty consistent until about week 5. Then it spiked up and I gained weight. And then even for week 7 and week 8, uh, very minimal, about 1 to 2 pounds each week for those last two. And that's with the additional running that I've been doing each night. So if you look at the top left, the extra calories, this is coming from my watch. It keeps track of all the different footsteps. And with the footsteps, it also keeps track of how many calories that are burnt. So this is the average calories per week. So in the beginning, even though I was having a lot less calories being burnt, additional calories through the exercises, I was losing a lot more weight. Week 7 and 8, it's almost to the point of doubling, but those results are minimal levels compared to where they were before. So again, I don't know if I need to start eating less, if I need to try to do something else to push myself even more, maybe do 3 miles instead of 2 miles in the evenings. Um, I'm just going to keep pushing and see where it's at. Maybe somehow I can get past this plateau. So what kind of changes am I looking for in the next month? Maybe eating a smaller breakfast. Again, it seems to be my biggest meal of the day. So maybe the most calories. So if I cut down the amount of eggs, maybe switch between yogurt and oatmeal every other day, not necessarily having both each morning, or at least each feasting day, not necessarily the fasting days. I won't eat anything on the fasting days. Um, that might be something that I'm going to consider. Haven't necessarily decided on that one yet. Also going to try to do some strength training on cardio days, just like I'm adding cardio on my strength training days. Actually, I'm adding additional cardio on every day by running 2 miles. On my cardio days, I'm also going to do some strength training, some kind of weights, not a whole lot, but just to force my body into uh, the mindset of I need to preserve this muscle. So even though I'm having a calorie deficit, it's not sacrificing the muscle to do that. It's going to uh, focus on the fat aspects. Another thing, one of the things that I've been incorporating into my fasting days is I've been using like those Propel fitness water things. I did a little bit of research online. Um, while they're zero sugar, they're 0 calorie. They may potentially have a spike in insulin when you do that, which could affect the fasting state. So I'm going to try to avoid those and maybe try something else. I might still use them on my strength training days, my eating days, but I'm going to look for some other solution that is more zero, true 0 calories, 0 carbs, uh, to see if that maybe spikes or at least prevents the spike in the insulin. I'm going to see if I can maybe get a hold of an insulin tester so I can test it out for sure to see if it spikes the insulin, but um, need to be able to order something like that first to come in. Okay, with that, now it's time for the AMA. I don't see anybody out there really, but I'll wait a few minutes to see if there's any questions that people come up with. And if not, then wait a few minutes and then we'll end it. And then somebody maybe in the future will review this video and it'll be helpful for them. All right, so Well, if nobody else is here, maybe in the future something like this will be a little bit more successful. But really going to end it now then, and hopefully you guys continue to watch the videos, you like, subscribe, and follow along. But for now, that's all I got.